Hello all, this is Global Conversations with Dr. Jorge. I am Dr. Jorge Núñez. The accent is from Argentina. However, I'm transmitting now from Manchester, UK. I had the idea of doing this vlog with V because I think it's the right opportunity now with the coronavirus. I believe in turning negative into a positive. So I'm going to be talking with you, not at you, with anybody in the audience about issues that are global, but I believe we have to think in local terms. What I mean by global, I'm a lawyer. I have different degrees. I'm a lawyer, a notary public, a doctor because I have a PhD in law from the University of Manchester. I specialize in law, jurisprudence, legal philosophy, and political sciences, political theory, and mainly international public law, in particular territorial disputes like Kashmir, Gibraltar, Jerusalem, um, the South China Sea, and many others. To me, one of my mottos, I believe in turning enemies into neutrals and neutrals into partners. So the idea I'm going to try to work out with you, anybody here, accepting anybody, regardless of their gender, ethnicity, country of origin, is at the level of the individual, in civil societies, and at the international level with the states, to kind of play with this idea. Instead of competing with each other, why not to cooperate with each other? I believe we all have limitations. I am limited. Suppose I'm a male, I would have to be with a female to have a baby. I have asthma, I have many health conditions. Therefore, in order to achieve something physical, I'm going to need a personal trainer. I may need to go to the gym and so on. So my idea is mainly I take, and it's my personality, I take limitations in the positive. Because I am limited, I need other people, and it's because of that need I find that beautiful, because I can cooperate with others in order to work together for a better result for both of us. I'm not going to discuss whether this is the ontological, whether it's good per se, or whether it's utilitarian. We can talk about that another time. The idea is to meet every Friday at about 5 p.m. British summer time. Now it's almost 5:20. For a bit of time, it may be 15 minutes, it may be 5 minutes, it may be an hour, just to have a chat. Today, because I'm starting on my own, this is the very first video. Again, I introduce myself, Jorge, or Dr. Jorge Núñez. And the other logo you can see here at the back, Fundação Angélica Goulart. It's a charity or a foundation I represent in Brazil. We work for children, teenagers, and young adults. We don't really use the term charities in Latin America because we believe it puts people down, in a certain level of inferiority and superiority. So that's why we tend to use these kind of terms. Also different from Europe, Australia, and the US. In Latin America, charities or foundations follow different rules and regulations in law, and they are not used for money laundering. That's a real issue in countries, in European countries. Although we may see charities, we have to be very careful where we send our money. What I propose to do, I have some publications. I can show you this book about sovereignty conflict. Again, this is mainly an ideal theoretical discussion. Back in 2017, this book was published. I deal with the idea, what would reasonable people do with conflicts such as Falklands. I deal with 3: Falklands, Gibraltar, and Kashmir. not humans, ideal, theoretically reasonable people, not us. So I claim that instead of being selfish or self-centered, they would do something about any territorial or sovereignty disputes. They would try to come to negotiations rather than go to war or any other non-going solution. Very recently, let me show you now. I had the opportunity, to publish a new book. Let me put it on the screen. It will be published soon in June. It's already on the internet if you want to download. And this is not to sell the book, by the way. You can download the ebook. It's about territorial disputes and state sovereignty. This time, instead of dealing only with theory, what I decided to do, let me scroll down to show you the index. I decided to put together law and political sciences and divided into different regions, territorial disputes. What do I mean by that? After many years of research, probably more than 10 now, I realized living in Argentina, living in the UK, we have different languages when we talk about territorial disputes. And by that, I don't mean only Spanish, English, or any other language. I mean in sciences. I usually put this example, self-determination. We talk about Gibraltar and whether the people there have self-determination, or the Falklands, and many other territorial disputes in the Caribbean, in South China Sea. The problem with the term self-determination, depending on whether I'm a lawyer or a political scientist, I'm going to understand the same term in a different manner. For public international law, in order to have self-determination, a group of people will have to comply with a set of requisites, very restrictive. However, in terms of political sciences, we may be rather more fluid in the sense how to understand self-determination. That is why we tend to see on the news the UK and the Falklands Islanders claiming self-determination based on political sciences and that open, fluid view. And then we have countries like Argentina arguing against the self-determination of the Falkland Islanders because Argentina will use an interpretation that comes from law. Again, more restrictive. It's not that I'm claiming one interpretation is better than, I'm simply making evident a point. Although we may seem to talk about the same concept, we have different conceptions of the concept. And that can cause more debate in already controversial dispute. So what I try to do with this work and my whole life or academic life is try to bring disciplines together to have a sort of common ground. What I do as well, I apply these concepts to different territorial disputes in the Americas, Europe, Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and some others. I'm not going to talk about the book right now. We can do that in future episodes. The idea today is simply to introduce myself and to show you who I am, the kind of things I do, and again, send you all this very brief message to invite you from the 5th of June, so a week today, at 5 p.m. British Summer Time, to be together live on Facebook and live on YouTube, and have a chat about any global issue that may have local impact. I'm going to start again with territorial disputes, and I'm going to try to cover some of them in the Americas, even Antarctica, like in the Caribbean, the border between Mexico and the US, the Amazonia, whether the Amazonia belongs to Brazil only or to humankind, Falklands, Middle East, or the Persian Gulf, and Jerusalem. There are many other territorial issues within Middle East area, not only Jerusalem and occupied territories, South China Sea, and the many territorial issues on land and on sea. We have Crimea with Russia and Ukraine. In Europe, we have as well Northern Ireland and the UK, in particular with Brexit, Gibraltar, Spain, and the UK, and several other territorial disputes. So I may as well start with that. And again, I'll wait for you next week on the 5th of June for our second session. And I'm hoping the second session will be slightly longer. This is only to introduce myself and to introduce what I try to do here. Again, the idea, global conversations, turning enemies into neutrals and neutrals into partners. So from the level of the individual, so from people, social gatherings, civil societies, the best example now, coronavirus, to a larger stage that would be the world, states, whether different countries, different societies can work together instead of against each other. And I think we can. Again, it may take long. That's why I propose to divide any kind of view into at least two steps. From enemies, I assume the extreme situations, turning enemies into neutrals. And then from neutrals into partners. What I'm trying to say, people that may hate each other, countries that may be completely opposed to each other, may come to terms and may accept each other. That's what I talk about when I talk about neutrality, very briefly. And from there, I think we can work out a deal that may be good for both parties, both or many more parties. Again, at the level of the individual and at the level of the states, civil societies and the international society, and it would result, instead of competition, in cooperation. And I think that's the way forward. I'm hoping to see this happening in my lifetime. I doubt it, but again, that's the challenge, and again, that would be the idea behind these global conversations. And once again, thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next time, Friday, the 5th of June at 5 p.m. British Summer Time. Thank you very much. Bye.